Hey guys, I had put out a forum the other day and I was talking about where Paul says that we're to be rooted and grounded in love, that with all the saints we might apprehend the height, the breadth, and the depth of Jesus Christ. And I just wanted to open up a little bit about the spiritual language that Paul is using there and what's going on with being rooted in the height and the depth and all that. And if you look at the Old Testament, you can really summarize it by going, you know, God really wanted to take a group of people and bring them into the land. And then once they got there and lost it through disobedience, the rest of the Old Testament is about getting them back to the land. There's something very significant about it. And so in Genesis, when you have the void and darkness over the earth, the literal translation for that is that there was submerged chaos. And it was on the third day that God reaches into the waters and he begins to pull something up. And of course, anytime there's the third day, you know, you're thinking, okay, resurrection, you know, what's happening here? And as the waters begin to part, up comes the land. He brings the land up on the third day. And you know, what's really interesting is that when the Lord's purpose gets frustrated again in around the time of Noah, water covers the earth again. And so, you know the story, Abraham is sending out a dove to try to get and find some dry land. And then the dove comes back, but then one time the dove gets sent out and it just disappears. And the assumption is it found what it was looking for. And if you kind of fast forward from there for about 3,000 years or so, one day, if you were to come on a scene, John the Baptist was in a river and his hands were under the water. And and then all of a sudden the waters began to part, and he brings up a man, Jesus. And of course, what happens then? But the dove finds the dry land, and that we find out that all along, what was going on was the land was Christ. And as the Old Testament goes, you know, they were to take the land as a nation. The New Testament is we apprehend the height, the depth, the breadth of Jesus Christ with all the saints. And so there's this correlation as Christ is the land. And so I wanted to tell you the story, knowing full well that tomorrow morning you're not going to remember anything I just said. And what did he said something cool about doves and stuff like that. But my point in telling you this is that we have been called to a good land. That's where Christ has called us to. This land is flowing with milk and honey. There's pomegranates that are bursting with life. There's barley, which speaks of resurrection. That's what we're called to. And if you're in a place that, or you're hearing a message that the church is in a period of wilderness and that all we're going to get is manna, that is not correct. There are hills and valleys in the land, and in the land there is death experiences and the cross and resurrection, but those just provide fluidity to your life where you have something now to offer other people. Okay, there are those experiences, but you've been called into a good land, into a good story. And you believe that. That's what you believe about your life, always looking to God. For it's the land where He's chosen you to sparkle.